done. Um, y'all are doing a whole bunch of things that are just available to you that I don't think you're really supposed to be doing. Let me see where these things are hiding. Kingdom Challenge. And that should have been from last year, but apparently you all can see it. So let's look at that one first. Yeah, that was me. My Zoom was acting up, so everybody, y'all were on the time. I was late. My Zoom kept doing multiple things that I didn't ask it to do. All right. I'm seeing that some of y'all are finding assignments that are open for some reason. I don't know why, but let's take a look at them anyway. Because like I said, we're reviewing. We are reviewing. So everything that we do is a review, even the things we haven't done yet, like this. Okay. So I really, this assignment, I really don't want you to do it before you do the lesson that goes with it. So let's go back and look at that. So I see some people trying to do it. I really don't have it listed in the grade book yet. All right, so this is what that one goes with. All right. So classification. So yesterday we talked about classification of the environment. We looked at cells make tissues, tissues make cells. Um, sorry, I said that backwards. Cells make tissues, tissues make organs. Organs make organ systems, and organ systems make a whole organism. And then we went from there to an organism is an individual, and then a group of organisms makes a population. And then different types of populations makes a community, and different communities make up an ecosystem. And then the different ecosystems on the planet make up the biosphere. So that was that archy. Now we have classification of living things into specific kinds where we're trying to identify them as being members of a species. So we have classified them into 3 domains. You're either a bacteria, an archaea, or you're an eukarya. Okay, and then that was the old system. Then they changed it to eubacteria, archaeobacteria. So that's those 2 guys over there. And then the green part, they have changed it to being protista, which are single-celled organisms. You're a plant, fungi, or an animal. So these are the kingdoms that we are concerned with down here. You need to learn Animalia, which is where we belong, fungi, which is where mushrooms belong, plants, single-celled organisms, and then we have our different types of bacteria. Okay, so that's the classification system. We learn um, okay, let's go down here a little bit. So these are the 6 kingdoms. So you need to remember when they ask you about kingdoms of living things, living things can be divided into 6 kingdoms, and they're going based on their characteristics, they're going to fall into one of these characteristics, one of these kingdoms. Okay. All right. Does this work? Sometimes these things don't work. All right, so if you go through, they tell you that eubacteria are single-celled prokaryotes with a cell wall and contain um, peptoglycin. They reproduce asexually by binary fission, and and budding and fragmentation. They also form resistant endospores. Resistant endospores means that they can form a case around themselves and protect them from the environment. Okay, many of these kind of bacteria are pathogens, which means they cause disease. Again, folks, I can't impress upon you enough to just sit down one day with a vocabulary list and look at your vocabulary. You need to know what a pathogen is. You need to know what an endospore is. You need to know what a prokaryote is. Okay. Um, We had talked yesterday about the fact that some organisms photosynthesize, and then we have some that are not exposed to light, so they can't carry out photosynthesis. So they have to use chemicals in order to photosynthesize. So then you get your other types of bacteria that use sulfur and all those kinds of things to chemosynthesize. Okay, so that's that group. Come on, change page. All right. And they're going to be microscopic and look like that. All right. Then we have the ancient ones, archaeobacteria. Okay. They look a little different to eubacteria in that um, these organisms are heterotrophs or chemoautotrophs, and they live in extreme environments and call extremophiles. So they do some live in moderate environments, some don't. So we don't deal with a lot of these because those are kind of archaeo means they're kind of ancient, but those are those kind of things. They live in volcanoes and strange extreme places like that. All right, protista. This is the ones you need to be familiar with. They are eukaryote, which means they have a nucleus, a defined nucleus. Um, they are usually, they can be multicellular, but they're usually single cellular. They can produce sexually or asexually. They can be autotrophs or heterotrophs. And here again, those words mean autotrophs, they feed themselves, which means they photosynthesize, or heterotroph, which means they take their food from outside. Cells that have to are single-celled organisms, take food in. Remember, we talked about they flow through the cell membrane. Okay, some have cell walls while others do not. And so when we think you've heard of amoeba and plankton and some of the pathogens, some of the organisms that cause disease will fall into this group. All right, fungi. They produce by spores, things like yeast and mushrooms. Those are fungi. They reproduce asexually or sexually. So again, here are different types of mushrooms and yeast. And again, like I said, folks, I'm going through this fast. It's going to be up to you to go back and spend some time with this and familiarize yourself with these vocabulary words. All right, plants. You're mostly familiar with plants. We talked about their cell walls and how they function. They have a nucleus. They have all the parts that the animal cell has, except they also have a cell wall and a large central vacuole. So again, animals are the kingdom we belong to, and there's a variety of animals. Um, Believe it or not, there are more plants on the planet than there are animals. All right, which makes us to the topic of domains. So each of these 6 kingdoms can be broken down further into more specifics so that we can identify them a little more closely. So this is the picture of the thing that was in that worksheet that some of you have accessed. And again, I didn't really want you to do it, so I'm probably going to delete that in a little while. But if you did it, that was good practice. All you had to do was based on what we just went through would be to drag these little boxes into where they belong. Okay, and then you can check the answer key for that. The other thing that keeps popping up for you all is, okay, actually, let me go from here. Yeah, that's the assignment. So like I said, that was dated from last year, and 5-second rule. Everybody y'all know what the 5-second rule is. If you drop something on the floor, it hasn't had a chance to pick up the germs yet, so you can probably still eat it. That's a 5-second rule. Some people have a smaller time period than that. Let me see, it'll probably be faster if I do it this way. Alrighty. Come on. See what I mean? Mine jumps all over the place. All right. So we were looking at kingdoms. Okay. I'm going to assume that this is where we want to be. All right. So like I said, if you look at the animal kingdom, there are lots of different kinds of animals. And there are also lots of different kinds of plants, and they can be put into different groups, and then they classify them according to structure and function. What kind of arms and legs do they have? Do they fly? Do they crawl on the ground? This is how they classify different things. So the thing underneath kingdom, the next one is phylum. So we're in the animal kingdom, but there's different kinds of animals. So these are all the different phylum that come under the animal kingdom. And of all of these, we fall into this last one called chordata because we have vertebrates. The spine and our back are the vertebrae. So we have vertebrates. We are chordata. All right. Then um I'm trying to get you to the other classification system. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this instead. And I'm going to give you a chart like that one. I like this one. I think I like this one. Okay. I'm going to put this in the chat for everybody. You need to make a copy of this. All right, and save it somewhere. And I am going to, let's see, what do I want to do with this? I'm just going to leave it right here. All right, so that classification system that I showed you earlier. Notice, remember that had that big bar and it says eukarya. And then we said of that, we have 6 kingdoms underneath that. So if we're classifying us, we are classified in the kingdom of Animalia. Underneath that, there is a phylum. So again, there's lots of different kinds of animals. The next subdivision under that is phylum. So we have chordate. So let me see if there's another one that actually explains. All right, I like this one. I'm gonna give you that copy too. All right, I'm putting these in the chat so that you can download the copy and put it in your notes somewhere. All right, so let's visit this one wherever it is. Okay, there we go. I like that. All right, maybe even make it a little bigger. How about that? There we go. All right, so again, we're the kingdom animals. And underneath that, if we make it smaller, and why I like the pyramid one is to just let you know that this is an upside down pyramid, which starts with a broad category, and we're trying to get down to an individual little organism. Okay, so we're in the group of chordats. That's animals with a backbone. And then, but there's still lots of animals with backbones, so we can bring that down even further. There's a class called Mammalia. Okay, and we are in that class. They are chordates with fur and hair. There are some chordates that don't have hair and fur. Mammals are the kind of chordate that have hair and fur, and most specifically mammary glands. They feed their young with milk. So we're getting to us. All right, there's still a lot. We're still in the group with cows and goats and all of that sort of thing. So we want to break it down a little more. So we break it down to order. We are in the order called primates. So we are the mammals that have collarbones and grasping fingers. More specifically, we can, let me see, do this. Okay, not all mammals can do that. We have grasping fingers. They might have digits, like cats have paws, but they have but they don't have grasping fingers. So we have collarbones, in addition to having backbones, mammary glands, hair on our bodies. We now have a collarbone and grasping fingers. So all these characteristics, we have to go through all of that to get to where we are. That's still a lot of organisms. So now we break it down to families. There are different families under the orders. We are in the family of hominids. They are primates that have flat faces and three-dimensional vision. Okay. Actually, we have eyes that have three-dimensional vision. Some things don't see in color. Some don't have the eyes on the side of their head. All those other characteristics. This one identifies us. And still this also includes the monkeys, okay? So we want to get closer to us. We break this group down into families. Into genus and species. And genus and species is like your first and last name. So genus gives you a particular group, like a family name, and species is like calling you by your first name. Okay, so most animals are identified by genus and species. Okay, and when we get to this part, we're talking a specific organism. All the rest of these, you're still in a group with a lot of other organisms. But right here, genus and species identifies you specifically. All right, giving you an example of a bear. The bear belongs to the kingdom Animalia. In the phylum, there are different kinds of bears. And phylum, chordata, snakes have backbones, squirrels have backbone, the fox has a backbone. So we're trying to get a little closer. So class Mammalia. Mammalia takes the snakes out, but it still includes the squirrel and the fox. And then these other kinds of bears. So we take out we go to carnivores is another type of category order that you can be in. Our order was primates, but if we look at carnivora, it took out the squirrel. If we look at family, like I said, there's different names for families. It takes out the fox. And then when we look at genus and species, these two are related, like they're close cousins. But this one identifies this bear uniquely. And this word down here is its genus and species name. We are Homo sapiens, okay? So we went up here, Homo sapien is our name, classification-wise, okay? All righty, so I sent those pictures to you. So the other worksheet that you had that everybody seems to be asking me about is learning how to use like I said, I didn't mean for those to get out there for you, but because they're in there, some of you have been doing it. All right. I think, let's see, what does this one have? right, you don't have to do this one, but this one goes with what I was just telling you. You had to write a brief description of all the kingdoms and then decide the characteristics of the organism. But don't worry about that one. The one that I want to show you is this one. And again, if you haven't done this yet, don't do it. All right. And actually, this is not what I thought it was either. Okay, let me take you out of that. So I'm going to delete these, and I really don't want to delete them, but don't do them. I'm going to take them out. Somehow I'm going to make it so that you don't have access to that again. All right, so we're going to go um, taxonomy, taxonomic classification of living things. And I want this, and I want, let's see, what do I want? A dichotomous key. Let's see, not interested. No, I don't want that, I guess. All right, that's not what I want. That's not what I want either. But I did have a worksheet like this for you somewhere in there. But that's not what I want either. Oops. All right. Oh, that's going to bring me back to that again. That's not what I want. Mm, okay, this will work. All right, this is a dichotomous key. A dichotomous key means that they have a two-sentence system where you either say yes or no, and by the time you finish saying yes or no, it will take you to the identity of the thing that you're trying to identify. All right, so we use this and say we're looking at this particular shell right here. There's always two things. That's what they mean by dichotomous. There's always an A and B statement. And at the end of the statement, it'll tell you what to do. Is it round and bean shaped? So if we're looking at this one, it's not round and it's not bean shaped. So that means we need to go to 2A. Does it have a gray coloration? It kind of does. Actually, I think they're trying to do these over here. Yeah, they're trying to do these. So these are the photos that you're looking at. So this one, it is round and bean shaped. It does have a gray coloration. So if you can say yes, then it'll tell you what it's. This one tells you what it is. So this That particular picture, they're called a, what are they called? Knickernut bean. Okay, that's that one. If we had said, is it a seashell? It would have told you to go to number 3. Okay, so if we said no to this, then we look at number 1. See, and it tells you, if you say yes, go to 2A. If you say no, go to 1B. Is it a seashell? If we say yes to it is a seashell, it tells us to go to number 3A. And then we look at what that picture looks like. So is it flattened and appears to have been hinged, enclosing an animal in the center? If you can say yes, then it tells you to go to number 4. If you said no, it would tell you to go to 3. Is it spiral? Well, it's not spiral. So this picture is not spiral, but it does look like it's hinged. If you've ever looked at a clam shell or a mussel shell, you know that they're kind of connected and they open up like a door. So this is kind of hinge shaped. So if it looked like it was hinged, it's said to go to 4A. Is the shell thin and longer than horizontally than it is tall from top to bottom? That one wasn't. Is the shell thin and long horizontally, which is what okay, this is vertical and this is horizontal. So it is long. Okay. It is, let's see, is it thin and longer horizontally than it is top to bottom? No, it's not. It is thick and it is long. It is as long horizontally as it is top to bottom. But that's this one. It is this one. It is 4B. If you said no to this one, it told you to go to 4B. And 4B, if you say yes to that one, then it is a sweeter, bittersweet clam. Okay. So that's how you use a dichotomous key. You just keep going, looking at the characteristics of the thing that they are asking for. So this one tells you if this is what we mean by horizontal, think of horizon, and height or vertical is this way. It has a spiral tip or an opening on the side. So these would have been hinged, but they would not have been what you were looking for. This has an opening on the side. This one does not. This one doesn't either, but it does have a spiral. So as you go through this description, eventually it will take you to one that will describe what it looks like. You have to practice. So we'll practice doing that after the test, but I just wanted you to see what a dichotomous key looks like. Okay, so that's what that is. Uh, the other thing that it mentioned was a cladogram, and that was that thing that looks like a branch that we looked at the other day as far as classification was concerned. What else? All right, what I do want you to do right now is, so this would be a cladogram. It shows you all the branches and things like that of things that are connected. Read this while I do attendance. So you're in Canvas, and we're in the section that says kingdoms and domains. Again, vocabulary words that you need to be familiar with. So look at these things here. Those are vocabulary words. Look at that. Let me do attendance, and I'll be right back. There was an activity I wanted you to do today. because y'all right now you're just reading. And when I tell you to practice the GMAS book, you don't do it. So not everybody anyway. So I'm going to give you an assignment that has to be done. It's still review, but it's something you'll actually have to turn in. All right, who's missing? I thought Desiana was here. Dallas. I thought Dallas was here. See, folks, y'all can't be popping in and popping out. Because when I do attendance and you're not here, you're not here. Okay. All right, Jayla, you are here. Okay, I got two suspects. And again, folks, logging in for 5 minutes does not give you attendance. And if you're not here to do the work, that's not attendance either. Yes, Jayla, and just can you give me 1 minute? I'm gonna put actually, Jayla, just come back and check for the link that I'm gonna put in the class. But go ahead. I got you. Okay, you are present. Oh, Dallas is back now. Sometimes it takes marking people absent to make them present. All right, Dallas, you were here. What happened? You disappeared on me. You had connection issues. I'm just about to mark you absent. Okay. Welcome back. Okay, got you. But I did remember that you were here. So I got you. All righty. Um, Here we go. I'm looking at the time. Okay, so I am putting a link in the chat for you. This used to be quizzes, but now they call it Wayground, whatever they call it. Come on. There we go. Okay, I don't know what just happened there. Okay, you do have it. All right, everybody sign into the, apparently you do have it. I got 2 people. All right, sign into that, please.
It's more like a quiz is
Yeah, it is.
instead of Wayground.
They changed the name. It's the same company, but
Yeah.
they changed the name.
I don't know why. It was perfect the way it is. But
You know,
anyway.
I agree. I agree. They
It,
just made it
I mean,
complicated.
why change the name even though it
If,
sounds better as quiz is?
as they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But they did. All right, I only have 3 people logged in. Let's go, people. Let's go. Let's go. Everybody logged in. I got 4. I got 4. There's 13 people in the class right now. Please log in. All right, I am going to go ahead and let it start, even though only 4 of you are logged in. Or is it allowing you to start?
Yeah, it's like move at your own pace.
Okay, good. There you go. And please use your real name. So whoever Goji Stanley is, I'm going to take you out. You need to come in with your real name because it's going to print a report for me. So I need everybody logged in. Thank you. I got 5 people now. Everybody needs, because I need a report. This is a grade. This is a grade. So I need everybody logged in. I got 6. All right, Brandon, Charlie, start calling your names. Dallas, Kingsley, Nevaeh, Talacia, Troy. Y'all are logged into class, but you're not logged into the quiz. Come on, folks. I still only have 6 people logged in. You got to log into the assignment. There are 20 questions. All right, I just created a grade book section where I have to submit the grade. So once you're finished, it will produce a spreadsheet for me and I will put in the grade. But you gotta log in for me to do that. Let me see if there's anything else in here that I want to remove. All right, so this is called a GM biology practice. So when it shows up in the grade book, that's what it is. So the rest of y'all who are not signed in, y'all gonna get 0 because you're present in class, but you're not participating. I got 7 people, that's half of you, signed in. I shouldn't have to beg you to do what you're supposed to do. All right, if you've complete this, go ahead and go back to reviewing I got 2 people who are completed already. Go ahead and go back to the practice booklet that I sent you. Troy, Brandon, Talacia, Kingsley, y'all are not in. Somebody else is in this thing. Charlie. Yes, good job. When you're done, go back and do the practice booklet. Go back and go through the modules, study vocabulary. Use this as study time, folks. Go back through the different lessons that we've already done. Cells, reproduction, genetics. Let me pull this thing up. Vocabulary, vocabulary. Just read some vocabulary words. Okay, again, if you're done, use this section over here to read through. It highlights words that you should know what the function of the organelles. I'm sure y'all have forgotten that. You have a worksheet that has all the organelles listed and what their functions are. Just use this as over here. This is what we were just talking about. Eukaryotes, fungi, plants, animals. Go through and look at um, the information for these eukaryotes. Vocabulary, vocabulary, DNA and RNA, know what the structures are, know the difference between a virus and a living cell. Use this as a study guide. If you come to a section, you need some more information, go back to Canvas and read that section. So please use class time to do classwork. The exam is in 2 weeks. There is a date. I think you all are taking yours on the 27th. I think I wrote it down. Yes. April 27th on a Monday. That's when your exam is. All right, so I'm going to look at the scores for this and I'm going to discuss. And like I said, those of you who didn't sign in, that's an automatic zero because you were present. This is not I can make it up on another day activity. This is a zero that you will get and keep. And I'll go over the answers for the correct answers for these next class. All right, folks, we got like 2 minutes left to class. So hopefully most of you I saw finished the quiz. That's good. Thank you for participating. Got 5 people getting a 0 for no reason at all because they won't participate. Again, practice, practice, practice. Take time to study the vocabulary. And we'll go over the answers to these Monday. More review, more review. And we'll go back and review some other things as well. Okay, if you are in a good place to stop, go ahead and stop. And I will see you next week. Have a great weekend.